All right, I have Nathan Ghareeb on the show now, who fights next on June the 17th at CES 69 when he meets Javon Wright. Nathan, how are you?
Doing great. Doing great. Ready for this fight. Been excited. It's been 6 months, so I'm ready to get back in there and put on a show.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my first question. It's been 6 months. I have to imagine, maybe you wanted to fight sooner than that, maybe every 3 months or so. What's the reason for the layoff here?
So after my last fight, had dislocated my toe in the fight, and the bone was sticking through. So that was about like a month and a half recovery process. And then following that, like a month after that, it healed, and I'd gotten back into training. I broke my hand, so then I had to wait like 2 months for that. And so and I was just trying to get an opponent for the last couple months. And so this opportunity came for June, and we were like, all right, this works out.
So everything is as healthy as it can be right now. You're feeling good?
I feel great right now. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the 6 months was more of like, it seemed kind of like a downer at first, but I try to take these as like an opportunity to develop. And with my coaches and stuff, like we had fought 3 times in 4 months, so we needed a time for development anyway. So we used, we wanted about 4 months, but we got 6 months for a developmental period. So I mean, it honestly couldn't have worked out any better. And I'm feeling great, feeling strong and healthy, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, fantastic. And things are going well for you right now, my man. You're 5-1 as a pro. And you did mention, you alluded to, your last fight, which was in November of 2021, a split decision win over Tom Pagliarulo, another high profile fighter here in New England. It's a nice feather in your cap to give him his first loss as a pro. Looking back on that fight, break it down for me. How happy are you with your performance? Or do you feel like, you showed the best version of yourself in that fight?
I think I mean, I thought it was a great fight. It was a great opportunity for me, another person to step up that was a challenger, that was like someone I could definitely, be like, this was a great fight for me to go in there and show a lot of different things, show my skill set, my ability, my toughness. Not necessarily, I don't necessarily like to rely on the toughness, but I prefer to be more skillful. But I think it was one of those fights that it was entertaining, and I think it's going to be good for both of us in that way. But um, honestly, like, yeah, I mean, we had got that call to fight him on, I think it was like 3 days. And because we had another guy, he pulled out last minute. So Tom stepped up, and I got to show a lot of different things in that fight. Obviously, like the leg kicks were a big thing, but I think a lot of my defense was probably some of the best stuff. That I don't think people realize that for like the first 2 rounds, especially, I showed a lot of like what I can do with my footwork and my hands and my guards and my defense, but also like my attack and my desire to win. So
What did this win do for your confidence? Because I mean, you've been in there with some tough guys before, but I feel like with Tom in particular, you look at the people that he trains with, Calvin and Rob, and part of the New England cartel and all that. There's a lot of hype and momentum behind him, and rightfully so. What did this win do for your confidence? I have to imagine it did a lot.
yeah, I mean, it proved to us, the guys that my team that I've been working with, that like we're doing all the right things. I think yeah, we got to step up against the cartel and show that like we're just as good, and that we can hang in there with anybody. I felt that after the fight, yeah, I was really pumped about it. Like even with the toe, like the toe didn't matter. The toe is almost like like for me, like everyone's like, oh man, that must have sucked, but it was kind of like crazy when you think about it. You're like, man, my toe is sticking out, and like didn't bother me the whole fight, and I was able to win the fight and keep kicking them with it. You know what I mean? So. I feel like like I showed that I can take adversity, and like if a problem occurs, it doesn't matter. We just keep moving on and do what we have to do. We just keep doing the right things and keep progressing forward. Like I don't think anybody can argue that like I take low level fights, or that I'm not going to be prepared when the big stage calls, because like so far, like even in my amateur career, I've fought a bunch of guys who are like game from around the area. I fought Cody Law, I fought Nick Fury, I fought Tom, I fought Matt Biana from around the area as well as an amateur. So, like I'm battle tested. Like I've proven it. I've stepped up to fight the best guys around when the chance is given to me. So, I believe in myself. I believe in what I'm doing, and I'm just gonna keep working and grinding until I get myself where I want to be. So.
What was the trickiest thing about fighting Tom?
Uh, I guess it's more of like the probably just like the persona at first, like that he does come from the cartel, that he's 6'1" or 6 feet tall, that like supposedly the bigger guy, but um to be honest with you, I mean, he was exactly what we had expected. Like even on 3 days to kind of figure out what he was like, what we had in front of us. Like me and my team, like we study everybody in the area, so we already have an idea what most guys are gonna do. So to be able to see, like, to get the name, it wasn't like, oh man, like it's this guy from this team. Like, what is he gonna do? It was like we had a pretty good understanding of what he was going to do, and we were able to shut that down right from the get-go. So there wasn't too many things that were like challenging. I kind of wish he had engaged a little bit more, because I think I could have shown a little bit more in terms of like not just kicking. I threw a lot of kicks. That was like a big part of the game, but I think we could have shown a little bit more, especially in the clinching and like the grappling aspect of things. But there wasn't anything that really came to a surprise to me. Like I thought the power was that was like the biggest concern, was the right hand, because he's a very good boxer. He's got very good hands. And we had anticipated there being like that, the threat of the knockout shot. But once I felt it, it was like, okay, it's just another day. You know what I mean? I was like, let's go. So
Well, again, man, congrats on the win. I definitely have a lot of respect for Tom. So that's a big win, man, for you. Again, a very nice feather in your cap. You're 5-1 now as a pro. If you get this win at CES 69, you're obviously going to move to 6-1. Where does that put you as far as maybe getting a contender series shot? Is that what you hope is next for you?
yeah, I mean that's been on my mind for a long time. I really wanted to get to a place where I could talk about getting to the contender series in June. Like I've been saying it for like June 2022 has been on my my vision board for a while. Obviously it'd be after June or something like that, but I mean it's possible. Like I think if I go in there and I display like all the things I've been working on, and I go in there and I put this guy down, there's no reason that I couldn't be on at the tail end of the contender series, or get a late notice call up if they need somebody. We're ready to go. Like we don't train to fight low level guys or anything like that. We train to fight the best of the best. Like we're preparing for the best guys possible. So if we get the call, like we're going to take it. We'll be ready to go. I'm like, for me, I just want to stay active. So if I don't get a call and, they're not interested now, we'll just keep rolling with it, keep doing what we've been doing, keep working hard, keep upgrading the arsenal, keep upgrading the fundamentals, and eventually I'm going to get my time. It's inevitable, for who's ever interested in me, like I'm here, I'm working hard, so I'm ready. And we just want to fight. I just want to fight. I love what I get to do. And I'd love to just keep it on a roll. Like if I'm healthy after this fight, I'll fight again. I'll fight again the next month. I'll fight again August. I don't care. I'll fight, every month if I can. I really don't care. So
What is that weight cut for you to get to 145? What do you typically walk around at?
So it's kind of changed. I've been walking around at like 175, so I'm like quite a bit bigger than I was after the Cody Law fight. That was in April of last year. A lot of people were like, he was so much bigger than you. He had more muscle and all this stuff. And at the time, the place I was training, my coach had said to me, you should probably either consider going down to 35 or bulking up a little bit. And I like to eat, so I was like, I'm just gonna bulk up. Like that sounds like a great idea. So, you know, uh, which is kind of why I started fighting at 55, because on the short notice fights, to fight back to back to back months, it's like it wasn't sustainable for me to cut down to 145 from like 170 or 175. So it's not bad actually. I've been working with a nutritionist, so he's been helping me manage and like understand nutrition on a completely different level, and it's made like a world of difference. Like looking at my macros and like just kind of laying it out for me, like what's going to help me to, because like I've been winging it this whole time. So to finally have somebody who's kind of structured it for me and given me a better understanding, it's just made the process easier. So like right now I'm sitting at about 160. I just got down from like I was at 165 last week, so I'm just dieting it down slowly, and then we'll just cut out the rest of the water. But I'm definitely hanging on to a lot more muscle because I'm eating a lot more protein, a lot more eggs, a lot more chicken, a lot more salad. So it's like, you know, uh, we'll see how the cut goes this time, because like I said, I'm not winging it this time. It's way more. There's way more calculation done than in previous fights. So I definitely think you're gonna see a much more like leaner version of myself, a much more stockier version of myself, because I usually like to be a little chubbier and like hang on to my fat. So, but this time I think I'm gonna be a little bit sharper, a little bit stronger. So.
Very good, man. Well, it sounds like things are clicking on all cylinders for you. So I'm excited for this next one on June the 17th. Tell me a little bit about, your day-to-day with training and everything. Do you have a full-time job too, or what is that balance like?
So in the spring and the fall, I work for my dad. I hang window shades and awnings. It's just a good way for me to make money. And then, and usually in the winter and in the summer, I just train 2 days, twice a day, 3 times a day, depending on like where I'm going. But for this camp, after my last fight, my coach and I had like sat down and talked. We were running a gym at one point, so we had been splitting our time. So through the last 3 fights, we had been running a gym and training, and I was working. So now we reeled it in. Me and my striking coach just worked, and now I'm training down at Ascension in Bristol, Connecticut with Jeff Haddad and Jack Stapleton and the guys over there. And I go down to Boston Wednesdays and sometimes Saturdays for grappling and sparring with Joe Lozon, Connor Matthews, Carlos Azoya, and all the guys down at Lozon's. And then occasionally I'll go and spar with my buddy Eddie down at FACT. So, I'm getting all the rounds in, I'm getting all the training in. Right now, what it's been is pretty much striking 4 times a week with my striking coach, personal, just me and him working on, what we need to fix and adjust. And the grappling has been done with Ascension and with Joe and Connor and Carlos. So it's and honestly, like it's been phenomenal because I'm seeing the best guys around. I'm going everywhere I need to go. I mean, these are like an hour and a half, an hour and 2 hour drive to get to all these places. But for me, it's like, it's worth doing it because I'm surrounding myself with the best guys around. I'm surrounding myself with veterans. I'm surrounding myself with guys that also are trying to get themselves to the next level, or some of them that are already reaching the level that I want to be at. So in terms of confidence, in terms of skill building, in terms of that push and the energy in the rooms, I feel like the best version of myself. Sorry, my dog's barking. She's freaking out. But yeah, man, I feel like training's just we're on a different wavelength. That's what we say. We always talk about frequencies. Like we're always like me and my coach and the guys that I've been working with. We're always on the same frequency. Now we've elevated the frequency. Where we're upgrading our weapons, as we call it. We're upgrading the game. And a lot of people don't see my grappling. They often don't. Like I don't typically have to show it that much. Obviously, in the law fight was probably like a close version of some of it, but now we've really gotten down to basics and really building on it. So things have definitely made a huge difference, and I'm looking forward to it, man. I mean, for me, it's just another day. Like that's how I look at fighting. It's just another day. Like I do all the work. I don't have anything to really be worried about. At the end of the day, and I know it's a fight, and a lot of people get stressed about it, but for me, it's just like going to an office. Like I would much rather be doing this than working in an office. So this is where I'm at. And this is what I asked for. So
Absolutely. And CES 69 will be in Rhode Island at the Twin River Casino. How far is that from where you live? And do you expect to have a lot of support there in the venue come fight night?
that's about like an hour and a half from me. I believe it. Yeah, it's like an hour and a half drive, so it's not too bad. And I got some family out in Rhode Island, so it's I've spent a lot of time like traveling around anyway. But yeah, I think I sold about 50 tickets for this one. Because we were still working on the opponent in the last couple of weeks, and we finally got ones that like lined up. So I think, yeah, we got probably about 50 people. Usually I can do a little bit more, but I think the later pushing the time back a little bit to like find out an opponent didn't give me a lot of time to like get tickets. I think there's a lot of guys from Rhode Island that are fighting or like closer, like out in Boston. So I think they were able to like get a lot more tickets. So for this one, it's, a decent crowd. Not usually what I bring, but it doesn't really matter. I think people are going to have a good time regardless. They're going to have so I'm still going to go out there and put on a show for anybody. So anybody that's, out there, like it doesn't matter who it is. And, I could go to foreign territories and fight there. And I think I'll, gain some fans from the fights that I have. I have exciting fights. So whoever's there and who's ever in the area that wants to make it out. I mean, it's definitely a great card. There's a lot of great fighters, a lot of great fights on this card, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, if you can't be there in the venue, come fight night. You can always watch it on UFC Fight Pass at home. Your opponent, Javon Wright, he's 6-5. So this is kind of like one of them situations where for you, it's kind of a tricky fight, right? Because you're supposed to win. You're not supposed to lose to this guy. Your record is much better. Do you feel pressure when you go into a fight like that, where like you're a heavy favorite, and if you don't win, or maybe even win impressively, it could affect the way maybe the UFC views you as giving you a Contender Series shot?
Um, no, like my thing with him is like he's all of his losses have come to guys who are currently in the UFC or guys who are in Bellator or have fought in Bellator. Um, he's a game opponent. He's a I would say he's a little bit bigger than me. For me, it's like I said, like in fighting, like anything can happen. So I don't think it's like yeah, like I would say like I'm probably the favorite in this fight because of my record. But this guy's game. He's gonna come out. He's gonna come to fight. He's not coming in here. He's not coming in to lay down. And I think that's the other thing with a lot of the opponents that they've been able to get me is that there really aren't many guys that are looking to take the fight of guys who are like, oh, is this like when they weigh the cost, benefit, it's like, is it worth going in there to take the fight against this guy? Because he's not, because like for me, it's like, I'm going to come out there and I'm going to put it on you. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter who I fight. Like I'm going in there looking to hurt you. So it's not like, I'm not going to jump on a submission quick. And like, if you give me a submission, I'm going to, I'll probably take it, but I'm looking to hurt you. I'm looking to beat you up. I'm looking to break you down. And I've proven that again in all of my fights, even in my losses. Like nobody gets out unscathed, and I want to make that point. So I don't feel any pressure. Like I said, it's just another day. It's just another day. Like if the UFC or Bellator or whoever doesn't see value in me, then I'm just gonna keep tearing through guys until they see the value in me. I go out there every fight looking to make a statement. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if they're 0-10. It doesn't matter if they're 10-0. I don't care. I'm going in there. I'm looking to hurt you. I'm looking to break you down. I'm looking to prove that I belong in the top. So this guy, to me, he's just another guy that's in my way. He's an opportunity to show what I'm capable of. Like I'm not overlooking this guy by any means. I mean, he hasn't fought in quite some time, like MMA. I know he's been boxing and kickboxing, but he wants to win. He's a fighter. He's a fighter. I'm a martial artist. I'm a fighter. I'm a competitor. I look at myself as all three. I think this guy is truly is a fighter first, and he's going to come out looking to hurt me, and I'm going to come out looking to hurt him, and I think it's going to be fireworks. But my job is to go in there and put you down, and I think no matter how I do it, it's going to be impressive. So that's just the way I see it.
So when you look at this matchup stylistically, what are you expecting him to try and do? And give me your ultimate prediction here. How do you see yourself getting your hand raised at CES 69?
He's from what I've gathered from like what we've seen of him, he's very much kickboxing oriented, boxing oriented. He's a combo based kind of guy. He comes out and throws heavy. That's what he wants to do. He wants to be the first to attack. He wants to be the first to hit. So for me, it's just a game of wearing this guy down, putting shots on him. They don't even need to be hard. Just putting, like we just call it like an investing fighting, just investing nickels and dimes in the jar every time I hit you, just putting volume on this guy. And eventually I think that second or third round, I think I'll be able to finish him. I really do. I think I don't think he's going to have an easy time setting things up on me like he probably intends to. And I think, from my perspective and the way that I visualize it is just simply break him down and then finish him, like, and that could be in a variety of ways, but it's just kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to spoil the ending for everybody. You know what I mean? So.
Fair enough, man. Well, I'll tell you what, I won't be able to be there in person on June 17th, but you better believe I'll be watching on UFC Fight Pass. Again, Nathan Ghareeb meets Javon Wright, June 17th, CES 69. Fantastic talking with you for the first time, my man. Before I do let you go, I want to give you the floor. Tell people where they can follow you on social media. And if you have anyone to thank, any sponsors, the floor is yours.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. It was awesome talking to you as well. I appreciate the opportunity to have the conversation with you and then get to talk about the fight. Yeah, I mean, you can follow me on Instagram at Nasty Nate G MMA. You can follow me on Facebook if you want. I have a TikTok, but I'm not really like active on it, so that doesn't. I mean, if you find me on TikTok, that's great, but I don't really, not really that invested into that. But I definitely want to give a shout out to my wife, Alicia. She has been my rock for the last 5 years, and she has been helping me, with everything, with my nutrition, my diet, my mindset. She's always there. She's always supporting me. Always, she's the one I can always hear in the crowd. Out of everyone, I can always hear her scream, and she's just as vicious as me. So I got to shout out to her. Shout out to my parents. They do so much for me and take so much care for me. Shout out to the guys at Ascension, Lozon's. Shout out to my coach Dan McIntyre and Alex Warren, and my sponsors Just Blazed, Western Mass Hemp, Gutter. I can't even remember. I can't remember all my sponsors right now, but shout out to all my sponsors and everybody that has been supporting me on this journey. It means the world to me. So thank you, everybody. I really, really appreciate it.